welcome to the channel. I'm Monty McKinnon and I'm delighted you're here. This has been a tough couple of days and I gotta tell you, the most difficult neck I have ever made. Oh my goodness, I came so close to packing in this entire series and getting rid of all the videos and forgetting the guitar and walking away. I was right there. And I'll tell you about that as soon as we spin the intro. I'll be right back. First of all, thanks for sticking in with me. It's pretty hard to write in the community section about perseverance and not persevering myself, but boy, was this an exercise in perseverance. I have to tell you that the Peghead was a challenge and a half. There's the top of the Peghead that I showed you in our last video. I've replaced the back twice. I've replaced this once. I did not like the position of the holes and the way they set up, and I thought, no, this isn't going to work out very well. So what do you say we start again? And that's what I ended up doing. This, of course, I heated and got a spatula and filed it nice and sharp and managed to get it off. Here's another use for Star Bond super glue. I'm using the medium. And I'm just putting this on the shoulder, just a drop or two on the shoulder of the guitar. I've got a piece of wood here, and I've pushed that up against the neck very gently because I have taken great pains before we started the video to make sure I have this fingerboard squared to the peg head and to the body, and I've done that by measuring down here where it was 8 millimeters on each side. I came up a little further and I had 13, I think it was up here. I had 10 in here, and so I know that it's all good. And what I do with this, what happens here is, I'll show you this in a minute, when I put these pieces of wood up against the neck and I hit them with the glue, it glues onto this neck here, and it allows me to take the fingerboard off and come back to it and reposition it, and I know I don't have to do all the measurements because it's going to slide into place absolutely perfectly and we will be good to go. So that's what we do. We put it on the edge and we just push that down like so. Put a little pressure on it. You know, super glue sets up very quickly and you want to make sure that that happens. Now, while working on the neck, this has been a very expensive neck, and I'll show you my watch. I took a picture of it and you can see it right now. Somehow I managed to smash the whole front and the crystal of the watch. I don't know how I did it. I have sat down and I have thought about it, and I just don't know. It's bare down to almost the motherboard on this corner and back in this corner. So as long as I don't get it wet, it's actually telling time and working. And so I brought it down here to show you today, but I've only been using it when I go out and I'm doing my walk and I want to know how long I'm walking. So I set the fitness part of that. But, you know, these things are a few $100, right? And it seems a little ridiculous to be down here wearing it. And of course, you know who has told me not to wear it in the workshop, right? Don't you hate it when they're always right? Oh my goodness. Anyway, she was right, and she told me it was going to get damaged, and sure enough, it got damaged all right. So that was an expensive part of this neck. I want to tell you that it's probably best for you to take off jewelry. Never do any woodworking when you're thinking of going out, like you don't have a tie on or anything like that. That's absolutely crazy to do that. All right, I've got this all set. This is held with spring clamps. Now, what I have done, we'll just give that another second. Thank you, Starbond. Great glue. And by the way, folks, there's a link at the bottom if you want to get some of this stuff. This is just another use for this glue, and you can order it and get a discount if you use my name. So by all means, please do. Now, I have in here, this is a homemade screwdriver. This is an Allen wrench, you know, one of those little L shapes. I cut the end of the L off, drilled a hole into a hunk of 2x2, put this in here, epoxied this, and this fits perfectly into the guitar to put on and take off the neck. The neck right now is glued on, or not glued on, it's bolted on. It's there. That's basically what we're going to look at. So by way, again, of an update, the body is done. I've looked at the body, and you know what? It needs, just because it's wood and it shrinks and expands and whatnot, I can see a few little areas on the back that need some attention before we do the finish, and I'm going to get into that pretty soon. This fits perfectly. I mean, absolutely comes right up to the edge. Once this is all cut down and thinned down, this will lay flat because we'll make sure that that does that with the adjustment. And you can see on the back, I have here where the cap is going to go. Now the cap is right over here, and I've got it clamped because I put the purfling on the bottom of it so that when the line, the green line comes up here, I want it to come around here and then go around the cap and connect with this line and run on down. So it's a continual thing. So we're going to tend to that. Now, the thing is, it's almost time for us to glue this onto the neck because the neck is bolted on. Before we do that, this is a truss rod. The truss rod, you should always examine to make sure, and I've done this, you put your Allen wrench in here, put it in the vise like so, and then crank it, and make sure you get it bending and it's going both ways. And before you put it in, put a little drop of oil on this section in here because it's threaded and you won't be able to get at it. Now, you won't be able to see this until I'm done, but this is the Teflon tape that a plumber uses around a threaded joint, and then he threads something on it, and then whatever he does to it to crank it. Now, why have I got that? The reason for that is this is a solid bar in the bottom. This is another bar here, and you can see it moves, which it's supposed to move, right? It's going to go back and forth. And it's going to fit in here and run inside the top. And you'll see me take the router again, probably for the last time on this guitar build, and I'm going to run it into the top of the guitar here, and I'm going to route out a channel in there for this to fit. So I'll show you that probably in the next video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a drop of oil on this. I'm going to twist it, make sure it's well lubricated because it's going to be in there for a long time, we hope. And then I wrap the Teflon tape all around this right up to here. And the reason I do that is because when it's in there, I don't want any sympathetic vibrations taking place because the whole guitar is about vibration. The vibration of the wood, the strings coming over the nut, putting pressure down here causes vibration in the neck, it comes back to here, radiates into the fingerboard, or rather into the bridge, and then all of that good stuff, and then it gets picked up on the pickup. So it's important that this thing not rattle. You don't want a guitar with any kind of rattle, and if you're ever looking at a guitar used or otherwise and there's some rattle in it, put it down and say thank you very much, I'd like to look at another one because I'm not buying this. So don't do it. So to prevent that, we put this, and then it will fit into this very nicely. So let's just take these spring clamps off, and there's the fingerboard. I'll get it out of the way so we don't mark it because I'm thinking of inlay. And so you can see this is where the truss rod's going, but it won't go into here because we've got to cut this all out yet. And I have a jig to do that. And so we'll get that all done. So you can see there's, well, you can't, but I can tell you there's a little bit of play in there. But once we wrap this, it's all going to be good. And don't ever build a guitar without getting this stuff. This stuff is like $1.50 or something like that. And then you get enough that you could tie up your kids, whatever you want to do. It's great stuff. Well, I don't know. I had a hard time with the bolts going into the end. I had them all pulled apart, and I had the drill press all configured and angled for 1 degree to make sure, because you see this is an angle, because remember the neck is not like this, it's like this, and then we have to shave it to bring it up so that it will fit nice and smooth over the top. I do not have this cranked in real tight right now, and I can move it a bit, so that's all good. Now the new Peghead, take a look at that. Can you see that? I like that design even better than what we had before. And there's the back. And you're going to see us, we're going to start carving this very, very soon. Now, one last thing by way of an update. Let me show you what this looks like. If I can get this in here. Okay, there we go. Now, you can see the inserts that are in there. And you can see all that black area and wet area all around it. That is super glue. What I've done is I put the bolts in, the inserts are in here, and then I hold it on an angle. If you have a reamer, you don't need to worry about this, but if you don't have something to ream it out with, and I don't know where mine is, I put it on a tilt, I use the thin, and it's not going to run up, it's going to run around here on the bottom and in here. So I put some at the bottom, put some at the bottom, I turn this over, and then I do the same thing, and on the sides. That gets me the stuff all the way around, and it works just hunky-dory. Now, if you want to see how this works again, what we just finished doing, this just slides right in. There it is. It's all centered. It's as simple as that. And when I'm finished and we've got this all glued and clamped on, I just tap this with a screwdriver or a hammer, and those things will just pop right off. So that's really good. So we're at a point where it's not going to be long, and we'll be carving on the neck. The body I will touch up a little more, and I'll show you some of that as we do that. Sorry that this is such a long video today, but I just thought it was important for you to be updated in this frustration. Oh my goodness. Heating this off and then replacing this, and then I had to come up with tuners. I can't use the tuners I wanted to use on this because of the shape of this neck. I'm going to do another neck where I will use them where I've got a straight run, and they will be beautiful on that. So we're going to do that. It'll be more like a typical Martin type guitar. Monty Martin, that's the guitar. There you go. All right, so I'm over my depression. I persevered. I won. It was a hard victory, a costly victory for sure. And of course, my ego has been bruised because I was told very clearly not to wear it down here. And you know, you get busy and you get doing things, and you just forget. I don't know if my friend over at Michael Builds has this problem where he gets his watch messed up with cement and all of that kind of stuff. And by the way, if you haven't checked his parging thing, you've got to see the videos where he parges, because at the end of the video, you just got to go and see it. Honestly, you really need to go and see it. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to have my English breakfast tea because I can. I thank you for joining me. Subscribe if you would be so kind, and hit the like button if you like this. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget the links down below. Yep, I know. Some of you are sitting there drinking coffee watching this video. You could make it 10 for 10 if you drank tea. Coffee only gets you up to maybe a 6.5. What can I say?